Hello fellow creature, welcome back to Rooftop Talks. Today I have a proposal for you. If there is nothing wrong with what we do to animals, if there's nothing wrong with how we treat animals, why not arrange school trips to slaughterhouses? Why not? What objection would you have if there's nothing wrong with our predatory ways, if there's nothing wrong with the ways that we exploit farm animals, then there should be nothing wrong with showing your child a real life slaughterhouse, taking them on a full tour, showing them the whole process. Let's take this one step further. Let's make it mandatory for every child who wants to eat the products of animals to see the process in its entirety, to see the process by which that animal product is obtained. And we can compare it with the plants. We can compare it with the process by which plants are obtained. We can take them to the fields where the corn is grown, where the wheat is grown. We can show them fields being tilled, being plowed, being cut. And we can show those vegetables being refined. No problem there. But let's do the same with animal products. I think this is a great idea, right? Are you against free information? Are you against educating children? Why would you not want to show your child the inside of a slaughterhouse? We'll get a group together. They can talk to scientists, they can talk to vets about this topic. Simply sign your kid's name up for the trip. We'll have drivers with school bus. It will be free, no cost. You can go with their teachers, with their staff. We'll be shown the full works of a slaughterhouse, and we'll see. We'll test it on your child. We'll see if there are any long-lasting psychological consequences to taking a child to an average slaughterhouse. It can be any slaughterhouse you choose. Like, choose the best, the high welfare slaughterhouse. We'll take them there. Slaughterhouses which take in pigs, chickens, cows, you know, the usual victims, and then they will have the privilege of witnessing the treatment of these animals that is done in their name, which is done with them as customers. They are demanding it. You are demanding it for them if you pay for their school lunches. And I think that would be a very educational experience for them, right? For them to have access to that information, let's say at the age of 12, would that be good? 10, 12, some kind of time around that age. Would you agree to that? If there's nothing wrong with slaughterhouses, there's nothing wrong with the way that we treat these animals that go into slaughterhouses, you should have no objection to this. I thought it was natural. We are natural predators, right? We naturally prey on these animals. So if anything, your child should be like salivating at the sight of a cow being strung up by their back leg. Right? That's not going to leave long-term psychological damage if it's natural. They're not going to be traumatized with that if it's natural behavior, right? Am I wrong? Let's continue this. If there's nothing wrong with slaughterhouses, why don't we bring our terminally ill pets there to die, right? So if your golden Labrador develops a brain tumor, right, and the vet says that it's going to be painful if the Labrador doesn't get put down in those last few months, let's prove it. Let's prove that there's nothing wrong with slaughterhouses. Send your golden Labrador to the killing floor with the rest of the animals, right? Quick death, apparently. Quick, painless, fearless death. Take your golden Labrador there, back up your position. Will you sign a pledge right now that when your cat or dog becomes terminally ill, to spare them from that painful death, you get to say your last farewell at the gates of the slaughterhouse, and then you send them in with the herd. You watch them, perhaps you stay around, you watch them go down the chute into the gas chamber. The CO2 gas that is used to asphyxiate pigs. That can last between 1 and 2 minutes. It's only 1 or 2 minutes, right? It's only 1 or 2 minutes before they are then perhaps fall unconscious, if they're lucky, before they're then dropped into the scalding tank where the fur is scalded off their bodies with boiling hot water. What would be the problem? We do it to pigs. We do it to these farm animals. There should be nothing wrong with it. If you say that animal testing is a necessary evil, wouldn't it be great for you to lead by example, right? If you say that animal testing on chimpanzees, testing on rats, testing on dogs, you thought they didn't test on dogs, they do, they test on beagles. If you say that that's a necessary evil, put your money where your mouth is and sign your name on the dotted line. Sign your name up to become patient zero. the first to be administered an experimental drug. I'm sure we can make it happen. We can find a way. I'll handle the logistics for you. Sign on to be a test subject for an experimental new drug, maybe in cosmetics, you know, like a cosmetic drug, maybe some kind of filler that's put into your lips and your cheeks, right? You can be the first patient. Isn't that an honor for you to be the first patient? You sign the waiver, I'll arrange the logistics. We also have some highly toxic drugs, you know, some very experimental drugs. We don't know what these drugs are gonna do. And if it's good enough for an animal, if it's good enough to test on an animal, it should be good enough for you too. It should be good enough for you to be patient number one. You go in with the animals. Why not? Why not? I thought they were humane. I thought that there's nothing wrong with animal testing. I thought that animal testing was a necessary evil. Sign yourself up for that necessary evil. Why are you being a hypocrite? By you participating in this necessary evil, you're doing us all a huge service. You're helping us by sacrificing your body, by playing Russian roulette with your blood. But there's nothing wrong with it, right? And we don't need to change it. We can just keep the status quo as it is. And you're willing to put your own body on the line to prove that. Great. I'm sick of the hypocrites. Are you not tired of the hypocrisy of these anti-vegans, where they don't treat others how they want to be treated, where they take, they never give. All of the heinous ways that they treat others, the experiments, the torture, the killings that they submit others to, they deny any wrongdoing. They deny that there's anything wrong about it. They wave away all of the morals when it applies to somebody else. But if they were to become the victim, they would be crying foul. The moment that they get the opportunity to put their money where their mouth is, to sign on the dotted line for themselves, to experience it personally, to subject their children to the experience just of seeing it happen, they're nowhere to be found. They hide, they run and hide, or they dodge the question. They change the topic to something else, some kind of health narrative, some kind of nihilism. Watch them change the goalposts. Watch them disengage from these questions in comment sections, wherever the discourse exists around this. Watch anti-vegans disengage from these challenges because they would never dare to prove their claims. They would never dare to put themselves in the situation that they subject others to. See you in the next video.